What's up, duelists? Masterduel's been kind of slow on adding the Dune Dark Magician cards, so I thought today I'd make a video about deck building in the TCG versus Masterduel. So, first off, obviously Masterduel does not have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and that completely changes how you build this deck. With this card legal, you pretty much want to do Dragoon Turbo. But a lot of people, when they're giving people deck advice on Dark Magician for Masterduel, they're telling you how to build it for the TCG, where this card is the main focus. But obviously, he's banned in Masterduel, so that's really not. All those tips are not that great for Masterduel because you kind of want to build your deck more focused around the Dark Magicians, in my opinion, which I will get into. Pretty much in Masterduel, in any format where Dragoon is not legal, Dark Magicians is a turbo draw into Floodgates deck. This deck has insane draw and search power with Soul Servant, Magician Circle, uh, Souls, Dark Magicians. You pretty much want to draw into your deck and get Floodgates because most of the core Dark Magician cards that aren't Dragoon are very passive. Like Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, he's immune to everything, but he doesn't actively do anything to your opponent. So pretty much what you want to do is to draw into generic cards with all the draw power you have, since we don't have Dragoon. So stuff like most people saying, only play 2 Dark Magicians. When Dragoon's the focus of your deck, yes, but when he's not, there's a lot of reasons you could use 3. So with only 2, your XYZs become a lot less valuable. Ebon High Magician, pretty much, why are you playing this if you only have 2 Dark Magicians in your deck? I've seen a ton of profiles with this. I'm like, how do you even summon it? Or how you can summon it, but you can't use his effects, so he doesn't do anything. Like, there's no Dark Magician in the deck to grab with him. Like, you use your 2 Dark Magicians and materials, okay, you can't detach, you can't banish. Like, why are you playing this? This is definitely for a build that has 3 Dark Magicians in it, especially if you're not playing other level 7s, which most people aren't. Uh, so, but there's also other reasons. This card is the only way for Rod to search a monster off the rip. Obviously, he can get a Soul Servant, but if there's nothing in the graveyard, Soul Servant doesn't do anything. No one really plays this anymore, but it's really good for the Dark Magician draw deck, which I'll get into. So, primarily what you want to do is you want to see Dark Magicians, you want to see Secrets, you want to see your core cards in your opening hand. Secrets is super important. It's your main fusion spell when Dragoon is not legal in a format. A lot of people don't care for this card, but I'm going to show you some combos with it. So pretty much. Also, the Soul Servant cards. Obviously, Mana's not in Masterduel, so pretty much I wouldn't play her in the TCG. She's not in Masterduel, sadly, so you have to rely on these 2, but that's fine. That takes the amount of bricks out of your deck down. You can play some extra cards. Before I get into the combos, I did want to talk about Fusion Deployment and Magician Souls. Everyone says play 3 Magician Souls. You probably should, but for me personally, I play 1 Fusion Deployment in place of a Magician Souls in the TCG because we have Illusion of Chaos, and there's so many ways to get into this card. And multiple Magician Souls in your hand don't do anything. Like, you can normal summon one, but you're probably going to want to normal summon Rod. I mean, it could come up, but Fusion Deployment kind of does the same thing as Souls, but they can be comboed together. I don't think it's a replacement for Souls. I think it's a card you should use in combination with Souls, because this can get you Dark Magician, this can get you Dark Magician Girl, 2 draws. Vice versa, dump Dark Magician Girl, dump mana, dump Mahad, get Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl with this. Like, really, like, start setting up your Soul Servant. Also, Magician Souls in the TCG has been getting sniped by stuff like the Bestials, whereas Fusion Deployment is weak to Ash. It's kind of a trade-off. But yeah, I would definitely look at running this ratio in your deck in the TCG if you want to try that out. Okay, now for the Dark Magician draw deck, you actually want to play stuff like 1 Navigation, which I will now show you the combo. So you want to play 3 Dark Magicians in your deck for this. You want to play Dark Magician Girl and Mahad. You want to get as many draws off of Soul Servant as you can. So you're playing 3 Rods, playing 3 Soul Servants, playing 3 Magician Souls. I think you should play at least 2 Secrets. You want to start off with those 4 cards. Or a way to get into them. So like if you open multiple spell, like if you open the Illusion Magic, if you open multiple, there's multiple ways to get into this depending on how you draw. So you want to start with Rod. You want to search whatever piece you're missing. Here, I'm going to grab Illusion Magic. Tribute Rod. Grab 2 Dark Magicians. Now you're going to do Souls. You're going to want to send, let's do Mahad in this case. Summon Souls out. Here, if you wanted to, if you had an extra spell, you could use Souls to dump it. We're not going to this time. Activate Secrets. Fuse Souls and Dark Magician. Summon up the Dark Magicians. We have a Dark Magician in hand from the Illusion Magic. Activate Soul Servant. Put this on top of your deck. Set it. Activate it immediately with this effect of the Dark Magicians. That goes in the graveyard. Summon Dark Magician. Summon Dark Magician Girl. Navigations in the graveyard. You have Mahad, Dark Magician, and Dark Magician Girl. Banish, draw 3. You hopefully want to get into some skill drains, some secret villages, stuff like that. You have your navigation set up in the graveyard for a negate. You've probably dug through a huge chunk of your deck at this point. But that's pretty much what you want to be trying to do in Masterduel, because there's no Dragoon. You want to be using your deck's main engine to draw a bunch of cards and set up whatever negates you can. Obviously, this build is just not as viable in the TCG. There's also a ton more legal cards you can play. We have Timaeus, so, you know, getting Dark Magician the Dragon Knight's way more valuable. You have Illusion of Chaos, so searching out your deck and making fusion plays for Dragoon and Dark Magician of Chaos is way more viable. But yeah, that's you really want to use kind of the more old principles of Dark Magician deck building in Masterduel, because none of these cards are in it yet. The 2 Dark Magician ratios, even like playing 3 Circle, I think is better in Masterduel, just because that is, it's gonna get you into that combo I showed earlier a little easier, because you're gonna have way more Dark Magician searching power. Now, stuff like hand traps, obviously you want them in both versions of the deck. Any level 3 hand traps like Ghost Spell and Ash, they can get you into level 10 synchros like Baron in Masterduel. Like, just say you have, you know, skill drain set up, whatever, and you just need a beater, or, you know, you happen to have Dark Magician out, you can't really use the Ash or something in your hand that turn. turn it into a level 10 synchro. Stuff like that. You want to kind of like Veiler's good because she's a spellcaster. So if it comes in clutch, you can fuse her with secrets into the Dark Magician. You just kind of got to think about stuff like that when you're building your hand trap lineup. What really you need in the format and what combos well with the deck. Now, as for the floodgates you're going to want to draw into, you definitely want to play Secret Villages and Terraforming, since we have Salvation, you know, has that double purpose. Secret Village, super fucking strong in any format. You want to play Skill Drains. I think it's the best floodgate for Dark Magician. Just your core strategy revolves around a normal monster, so it's just the one that affects us the least, I think. And then you can have your Gozens, Rivalries. There can only be ones in there as backup. I would definitely play those in the side in TCG with Skill Drain and Secret Village in the main. Called by the Grave, you definitely want to play that in the TCG to protect Red House Fusion from, you know, you want it to go off. Obviously, you know, the TCG build, it really needs to be Red Eyes heavy. And when you play in the TCG with Red Eyes Fusion and Dragoon as your main setup, your main play, you definitely do want to cut out on the turbo draw style cards, because you're not going to be able to summon multiple monsters the turn you activate Red Eyes Fusion. It's just the entire strategy of the deck is different, and that is when playing 2 Dark Magicians over 3 is better. You know, less circle. Even playing Illusion Magic like is less valuable, because there's just not much you're gonna do with multiple Dark Magicians in your hand in the Red Eyes Fusion version, because you're just pretty much wanting to get into that. But like I said, this is the only way for Rod to search a monster right now, and I think this card is not. People should take it a little more seriously. You know, when building the deck, there's a lot of hands this can fix. The problem with Dark Magician primarily is there's a ton of cards that you want to be in the deck, but you don't ever want to open with them. If these could just sit in the deck and, you know, add draw 3 and draw 4 onto Soul Servant, that'd be great. You just don't want to see them in your opening hand. Same as Navigation. If it's in the deck, there's times when you can pop off with it with the Dark Magicians, but you don't really want to open it. You want to get it off the Dark Magician's effect. Even like Magic Karibo, I think he's a great card to just exist in the deck, because there's times when he can really come in clutch, but you just don't want to open with him. You really, like, it's like, man, I wish he was in there when you go to search, but he's just not good in your opening hand. And he's probably not that good in the TCG right now, seeing as all the graveyard sniping. But in Masterduel, if the new cards would come out, he might be worth playing, because, you know, you're doing Skill Drain and Secret Village and stuff as your primary strategies, and he kind of helps facilitate keeping Dark Magician on the field. Even stuff like Magician's Combination relies on the graveyard. It's kind of cool if you have the setup and then you can search it, but if you open with it and you don't have a way to the setup, it's not very good. That's just a ton of Dark Magician cards are like that. And you kind of have to think about that when you're building your deck. You kind of want, because you're already playing Dark Magician, you're already probably playing Dark Magician Girl, that cards that don't really do anything, you're playing Red Eyes in the TCG. Like, so you want to keep the amount of cards that don't immediately do something on their own lower. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.